In Time, 2011. I was reminded of this film the other day by a more recent film I've watched, but I haven't seen it again recently. I saw it in the cinema and I actually did see it on DVD, I think, maybe on streaming a while later. But um, being reminded of it, I decided to look up the trailer, and that reminds me enough about the film because I absolutely loved it when I saw it. And particularly at that time, I was involved in time banking in a way. I still am. I'm a huge fan of time banking, but I've not been doing much about it recently. And this film isn't about time banking, but it is about time. And in essence, it's that no one ages beyond 25 years old um, in the physical sense. Everyone is genetically modified, and they have a counter on their wrist with 13 digits, and it goes by, or at least 13 digits, might go to 15, but there's dots to separate the seconds countdown, minutes, hours, days. Um, I don't remember if it's weeks, might be weeks rather than months, since months are irregular, and then years. And all these numbers count down all of the time, and you can add to it by working. So isn't that far off money? It's I mean, in a sense, we need money to sustain ourselves. Without money, we can't afford food, we can't afford our rent or mortgage or um, all the other things, utilities that we need to sustain ourselves. So it isn't that far removed from reality, but it is set in a time of privilege. And it stars Justin Timberlake as Will Salas, and it also stars Olivia Wilde as Rachel Salas, Will's 50-year-old mother. And there's Amanda Seyfried, who stars as Sylvia Weiss, and Cillian Murphy, who is the timekeeper, Raymond Leon. And wow, I mean, those are the key characters. The timekeeper. I You see quite a lot of him. There's an awful lot of running about. There are electrical vehicles. I mean, it's set in the near future. I think on this trailer, it seemed to come back very quickly from, say, about 2040, maybe 2035. Notice the numbers going back to 2011, the present day of the film. But it's not that much. We're about halfway there now to this dystopian future, and unfortunately, it's already fairly dystopian. It's cis and straight in nature, but there's a lot that I think most of us can identify with because it's a battle between rich and poor. The rich have privilege and wealth and huge amounts of time. And there's one um, chap whom Will meets who is depressed and seems quite low, and shakes his hand and gives him over a century worth of time. And that makes Will a target. Meanwhile, this particular person, um, trigger warning, then goes to a bridge over the Los Angeles River, sits on the bridge and waits because he's only got a few minutes. waits until he times out and he goes off the bridge. And people knew that he had a century on the clock. He had 116 years or something. But he was feeling numb about life and giving away his time. Effectively, it's like giving away all your money and then just ending it all. But the stories about, Will escaping, finding, he sort of falls for Sylvia, and she kind of falls back eventually. I mean, it's sort of he escapes to this, out of the poor zone where he's working. Los Angeles is divided into zones. I mean, it reminds me of what reminded me of this film was the Q zones, the quarantine zones in, a film that I don't know if I've uploaded yet. Have I uploaded? Have I? I don't know. But anyway, I thought I'd do this film first because I could talk about it straight away. Um, I like the way there are all these electrical vehicles. I like the just the whole concept. I mean, I think I vaguely remember it was criticized to some extent, or some people thought, well, it's not. I mean, it, it's not the absolutely um, mind-blowing film because but it is following logically everything that comes from the premise of you being genetically modified at the age of 25 and then having a countdown only so much time. You have to build it up week by week. You have quotas to meet. If you don't meet the quotas and the quotas go up, really felt like my last job. If the quotas don't go up, um, you're stuffed effectively. And you can choose, as certain characters like Will choose, to be a Robin Hood with your time because you're I mean, in a sense, timekeeper Raymond is running after Will because he thinks he's stolen the time. I suppose he detects it. He thinks, right, this guy needs chasing and sorting out, and he will chase him relentlessly because he's like a millionaire. A century worth of time. That's a huge amount of money. Probably a billionaire. Um, so this feels a really an enjoyable romp. Um, there's there's a lot of threat. There are deaths. There's tragedy, and the way everyone's working in these factories, it feels. When you think in a future time, everyone wouldn't actually even be working because of AI, but AI wasn't so much on the horizon in 2011 as it is now in 2025. I think that's one of the biggest things on the prediction front. It feels like AI is a huge um, um, threat as to the world of work. Um, and it has to be taken seriously. And it's more the system, it's more how people manage it because AI could actually help people. It could be distributed fairly across the board for everyone to use, for everyone to benefit from. So we all had an easier time with our jobs. But effectively, it's controlled by management, by senior management, by governments. And do we get longer holidays now? Do we get more time off? I don't know. I'm I was let go from my job, and I believe it was down to AI. Um, in this world of the Victorian workhouse of inequality, like in time, the parallels still exist. It's just as much of a dystopian future. I mean, uh, I think that's all I can say about it. I'm going to score it 9 out of 10. I think it's a great film. It's really interesting to watch the concept being taken for a ride, effectively, to see how these characters deal with it and how someone may find a way out, at least for them, in a way, if they could destroy the system, but it seems to be embedded in people individually. And so it's a huger problem than the problems we face now. We can do something about the dystopian natures, the dystopian nature of the world as it currently exists, because we don't have it genetically modified into us, and we still have contactless, and many cash still exists as well. The means of productions. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, the politics is getting worse, but there's a lot that we can prevent from getting as bad as in films like this. So 9 out of 10. If you've seen it, please let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. Thanks if you subscribe. Please hit the notification button. And I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.